Oh, the dreaded silent treatment. I have been a victim of that experience more times than I care to remember. Boom! I'd wake up one morning and my husband wasn't talking to me. And for what reason? I could never tell. I hated the guessing game. Was it something I said? Maybe I did something wrong. But what? For the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. And then, just as suddenly, we were talking again, as if nothing had ever happened. For decades, I twisted myself into knots, trying to prevent the next freeze-out. Finally, I had enough, and realized this was a behavior I wasn't going to tolerate any longer. Welcome to Lessons for Life with Grandma Kate. If you're done with people-pleasing, tired of repeating the same patterns, and ready to learn what healthy relationships actually look like, you're in the right place. I get it. I was there too. At 65, I started learning the skills I wish I'd known decades ago, how to see the patterns, why we keep repeating them, and how to treat ourselves with more respect. Each week, I share real-life lessons to help you understand yourself better, recognize unhealthy patterns sooner, and stop repeating them so you can break the cycle instead of passing it on to your children. You'll find today's lesson written out as a blog post in the show notes if you prefer to read. New episodes drop every Thursday, so hit that subscribe button. And if something here resonates, leaving a quick review helps others find their way here too. And if what I've shared speaks to you, I also send a free weekly newsletter, a 1-minute read, just 100 words, delivered every Monday morning with one reflection on loving yourself more, being your own person, and choosing yourself without guilt. You'll find the link in the show notes. If this episode resonated with you, there's a link in the show notes if you'd like to show your appreciation for what landed for you. Either way, I appreciate you being here. Like a lighthouse, steady and strong, let's all shine a little brighter today. For many people, the silent treatment feels worse than an argument. And if you grew up as a scapegoat, it can cut especially deep. The silent treatment isn't just someone needing space. It's when a person shuts you out instead of talking things through. They stop responding. They give one-word answers, they avoid eye contact, or they go completely quiet, sometimes for hours, days, or even longer. What makes this so painful is that there's no explanation, no repair, no chance to understand what went wrong or how to fix it. You're left guessing. An argument, even a heated one, still says, "You matter enough to react to." Silence sends a different message. You don't matter at all. Research shows our brains literally process social rejection in the same neural pathways as physical pain. That's why it can feel unbearable. Being shut out triggers fear, shame, and panic, especially fears of abandonment or rejection. Your body remembers this pattern too. The tight chest, the sleepless nights, the constant mental replay. For someone who has been the scapegoat in their family, this silence doesn't just hurt in the moment. It wakes up old wounds. In scapegoating families, silence is often used as punishment. If you speak up, set a boundary, or point something out uncomfortable, you risk being frozen out. The unspoken message becomes, if you tell the truth, you lose connection. Over time, this teaches the scapegoat to doubt themselves. You blame yourself because no one will explain what's happening. It also creates a trap. If you speak up about how unfair the silence feels, you're labeled difficult or dramatic, and the silence continues. If you stay quiet to keep the peace, you end up feeling emotionally abandoned. And sometimes they'll say they need space to think or need time to calm down, which sounds reasonable. But space without a commitment to come back and talk, that's not processing. That's punishment. And when other family members pretend not to notice or refuse to acknowledge what's happening, That silence about the silence confirms your worst fear, that you really are alone. In relationships, this often shows up after the anxious, dismissive pattern we talked about last week. When a dismissive, avoidant person shuts down, an anxious person feels even more desperate for connection. If that anxious person is also the family scapegoat, the pain feels familiar, like being cut off all over again. This is why naming what's happening matters. This isn't normal conflict. This isn't a healthy space, and it isn't you being too sensitive. The silent treatment is about control, avoidance, and power. And when you've been the scapegoat, it can make you question your worth instead of questioning the behavior. I know this pattern well because, as I've mentioned, I've lived it. For years, I experienced the silent treatment, always believing I'd done something wrong because making you question yourself is part of how the silent treatment works. The person never has to change if you're the one constantly doubting your reality. But once I named the behavior, the silent treatment, it was like turning on a light in a room I'd been stumbling through in the dark. It took its power away because I could finally see the behavior for what it was. And I learned that it told me more about the person I was dealing with than it ever did about me. This came into sharp focus a couple of months ago. I needed help with something, so I reached out to my husband. When I asked, he became defensive, and suddenly we were in a shouting match. Then, click, the phone went dead. For days he didn't talk to me. But now I see the pattern for what it is. Then, he acted as if everything was back to normal, as if nothing had happened. No apology, no acknowledgement, just reset. But here's the thing. I've decided not to let people treat me that way. So when he set a place at the dinner table without ever discussing what had happened, I didn't play along. I calmly said, "Let me know when you're done giving me the silent treatment," then walked away and ate my dinner outside. Oh, he scoffed, but my message was loud and clear. I know what you're doing, and I don't tolerate being treated that way. That scoff, it was the sound of someone realizing their usual tactic wouldn't work anymore. Once you can see the pattern clearly, the question becomes, what do you actually do about it? Here are 9 life lessons on how to respond to the silent treatment. Number 1, calm your body before you respond. When someone shuts you out, your body goes into alarm mode. Pause and name what's happening. I'm being ignored, and this hurts. Before you say or do anything, help your body settle. Slow your breathing, take a walk, write things down, or reach out to someone safe. Calm first. Clarity comes next. Number 2, name what's happening, simply and clearly. If it feels safe and you're dealing with someone capable of reflection, say what you see without attacking or explaining. A short statement like, "When you don't speak to me, it's hurtful. I'm open to a respectful conversation when you're ready," is enough. You're not trying to convince them. You're stating your reality. And if it doesn't feel safe to name it directly, that silence itself is telling you something important about this relationship. And number 3, set a boundary around communication. You're allowed to expect words, not silence. You might say, "I need problems to be talked about, not handled with silence." If the behavior continues or worsens after you've stated your boundary, that's not a failure on your part. It's information about whether this person is willing or able to engage with you respectfully. Boundaries aren't punishment. They protect your mental and emotional health. And number 4, stop chasing and step back. Scapegoats are often trained to fix things that aren't theirs to fix. Resist the urge to over-apologize. beg for connection, or explain yourself over and over. After one or two clear attempts to reach out, step back and refocus on your life, not their silence. And number 5, don't put your life on hold waiting. Silence can leave you stuck, watching your phone or replaying conversations in your head. You don't have to wait forever for someone to come back and talk. After a reasonable time, like a day, a week, whatever feels right to you, you're allowed to move forward, make decisions, and live your life, even if they never explain themselves. And number 6, reclaim your reality as the scapegoat. Writing down what actually happened or speaking the truth out loud to a safe person helps break the fog of confusion and self-doubt that the silent treatment creates. And number 7, decide ahead of time how you respond next time. The silent treatment often repeats. Decide in advance what you'll do the next time it happens so you're not making choices while hurt or panicked. Planning ahead gives you back a sense of control. Number 8, build safety outside the relationship. Silent hurts more when it isolates you. Invest in people and spaces where you feel seen and believed. Friends, a therapist, or support groups for people healing from family dynamics. And if silence is ongoing or part of a bigger pattern of control, it's okay to consider reducing contact with that person or getting professional support to help you navigate next steps. And number 9, notice if the pattern includes making up without repair. If someone breaks their silence with sudden affection, jokes, or acting as if nothing happened, but never acknowledges the hurt or discusses what went wrong, that's not repair. That's resetting the cycle. Real connection includes words like, "I'm sorry," "I shut down," or "Can we talk about what happened?" If you have children, they're watching how you handle conflict in silence, and what you teach them now will shape how they show up in their own relationships for decades to come. Children learn more from what we do than what we say. If they see you accept the silent treatment without naming it, they learn that love includes being shut out. If they see you chase someone who's withdrawn, they learn their job is to fix other people's emotions. But if they see you calmly set a boundary and refuse to pretend everything's fine when it's not, they learn that healthy relationships require words, repair, and mutual respect. You don't have to have perfect conversations with your partner or family members to model healthy behavior. What matters is that your children see you acknowledge when something's wrong. You might say out loud in an age-appropriate way, "Dad and I had a disagreement, and right now he's not talking to me about it. That's not okay, and I'm going to give him space, but I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen." This teaches them that silence after conflict isn't normal or acceptable. When you do repair with your kids after your own mistakes, saying, "I'm sorry I snapped at you earlier. I was frustrated and that wasn't fair," you're showing them what real connection looks like. You're teaching them that people who love each other talk about hard things, admit when they're wrong, and don't just reset and move on as if nothing happened. That's the gift you give them, the knowledge that they deserved relationships where problems get addressed, not avoided. Here's what I know after decades of enduring the silent treatment and finally learning how to respond. You cannot control whether someone chooses to be silent, but you can absolutely control whether you accept it. You can decide not to chase. You can refuse to pretend everything's fine when it's not. You can teach your children what healthy repair looks like, and you can build a life with people who know how to use their words. The silent treatment only works if you play along, and you don't have to anymore. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Send me a message, leave a review, or share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, asking for communication isn't asking for too much. It's asking for the foundation of any healthy relationship. Whether you're starting to understand yourself more clearly, working through old family dynamics, or learning to do things differently, you're building those skills that help you grow into the person you're meant to be. Listening is important, but real change happens when you use what you've learned. So choose just one life lesson from today and try it out this week. That's when things begin to shift. And if you want more life lessons like this, be sure to follow Lessons for Life with Grandma Kate on Facebook and Instagram. If no one has told you lately, everything will be okay. Tomorrow is a new day, and with it comes new hope. As I conclude this episode, I must state that this podcast is designed solely for educational and entertainment purposes. While I bring my experience as a parent and grandparent, it's essential that you know I am not a licensed therapist. This podcast is not a substitute for professional advice from a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. Got it? Awesome. Until next time, what is one thing you are grateful for?